Sergeant Jake Morrison had been on reconnaissance missions that involved hostile wildlife, unstable terrain, and atmospheric conditions that could kill an unprotected human in 30 seconds. None of those experiences had prepared him for the sound of chains dragging across metal flooring in a place that was supposed to be uninhabited. Kepler 438c was listed in the Colonial Defense Force databases as a barren mining prospect, no sentient life, minimal atmosphere, suitable only for automated resource extraction. That made the sprawling industrial complex Jake was currently infiltrating something of a bureaucratic impossibility. Sanctuary Base, this is Recon 7, he whispered into his comm unit, crouched behind a massive ore processing unit. I've got a major problem down here. Captain Lisa Santos's voice crackled through his earpiece with the distinctive tone of someone trying to sound calm while everything went sideways. Define major problem, Morrison. Are we talking equipment malfunction or existential crisis? I'm talking about approximately 40 sentient beings in energy shackles being used for forced labor in an illegal mining operation. The comm channel went silent for several seconds. When Santos spoke again, her voice had shifted from casual command to barely controlled fury. Confirm that, Sergeant. Did you say slaves? Jake peered around the processing unit and immediately wished he hadn't. The aliens, he recognized them as Nexari from their iridescent skin and elongated limbs, were chained to mining equipment, their movements sluggish with exhaustion. Most disturbing was the youngest, a female who couldn't be more than adolescent by Nexari standards, whose wrists were bloody from struggling against her restraints. Confirmed, Captain. And they're in bad shape. I'm going to need immediate medical support and a full rescue team. Negative on the full team, Morrison. We can't risk exposing our position until we know what we're dealing with. Get as much intel as you can and prepare for emergency extraction. Jake bit back his initial response, which would have involved several words not typically used in official military communications. Copy that, Sanctuary Base. Beginning reconnaissance. The mining facility was a maze of industrial equipment and holding cells, all operated by automated systems that explained how such a large operation could function with minimal human oversight. Jake counted at least 36 Nexari in various stages of captivity, but it was the young female near the main extraction point who drew his attention. She was different from the others, where her fellow prisoners showed the dulled resignation of long captivity, she still fought against her restraints. Her iridescent skin, which should have shimmered with health, was pale and marked with the distinctive scars that energy shackles left on Nexari physiology. Jake had studied enough xenobiology to know that Nexari were empathic species, capable of sensing emotions and intentions from other sentient beings. This one kept looking around as if she could feel something the others couldn't, hope, perhaps, or the presence of someone who meant her no harm. Moving with the stealth training that had kept him alive through 6 years of military service, Jake approached her holding area. The security system was sophisticated but not paranoid. Whoever ran this operation was confident that no one would find them. The young Nexari's head snapped up when he was still 10 meters away, her large eyes focusing on him with an intensity that made Jake's empathy training kick in. Fear, yes, but also desperate curiosity. Easy, he whispered, knowing his universal translator would render his words into something she could understand. I'm here to help. Her response was barely audible, but the translator picked it up. Impossible. No one comes. No one helps. Jake examined the energy shackles binding her wrists and ankles. The technology was illegal in most sectors of known space, designed to cause pain if the wearer struggled while still allowing enough movement for labor. Disabling them would require precise timing to avoid triggering the pain feedback systems. What's your name? He asked, working on the control interface. Zara, she replied, then added something in her native language that his translator rendered as daughter of the fourth reflection. Jake's briefings had mentioned that Nexari names often included family lineage references, suggesting this one came from an important bloodline. Zara, I'm Jake. I'm going to get you out of here, but I need you to stay very still while I work on these restraints. The security override was more complex than he'd anticipated, requiring him to hack through multiple encryption layers while avoiding detection by the facility's monitoring systems. As he worked, Zara watched him with growing amazement. "You are human," she said, as if the concept was difficult to process. "Guilty as charged. Is that a problem? Humans do not help Nexary. Humans buy and sell us." Jake felt his jaw clench. The illegal slave trade was supposedly a minor problem in the outer sectors, not the organized industry that this facility suggested. These humans do. But not all humans. The first set of restraints disengaged with a soft chime, and Zara immediately collapsed as circulation returned to her arms. Jake caught her before she could hit the metal flooring, noticing how light she felt, too light, suggesting malnutrition along with the obvious abuse. "Thank you," she whispered, then said something in her native language that made his translator work overtime before producing, "Blood debt acknowledged. Vethtai bonding initiated. Never abandon, never forget." Jake wasn't sure what Vethtai bonding meant, but the intensity in Zara's voice suggested it was significant. "Can you walk?" I will try." As Jake helped her to her feet, his comm unit activated with Captain Santos's voice. "Morrison, we're picking up incoming ships on long-range sensors. Whatever you're doing down there, you need to do it faster." "Copy that. Beginning prisoner extraction now." But as Jake looked around at the dozens of other Nexaries still in chains, he realized that speed and stealth were about to become mutually exclusive. Either he could save Zara and escape quietly, or he could try to free everyone and probably get them all killed. Zara seemed to sense his dilemma through whatever empathic abilities she retained. "Save the others," she said firmly. "I will help. You can barely stand. I can stand long enough to matter." Jake looked into her eyes and saw something that reminded him why he joined the military in the first place. The determination to do what was right regardless of the cost. "Sanctuary base," he said into his comm, "change of plans. We're going to need that full rescue team after all." Captain Santos's response was immediate and predictable. "Morrison, you're supposed to be a reconnaissance specialist, not a one-man liberation army. Sometimes the job description changes, Captain." As alarms began blaring throughout the mining facility, Jake helped Zara toward the control center that could release all the energy shackles simultaneously. Behind them, automated defense systems activated, and in the distance, the sound of approaching ships grew louder. "Zara," Jake said as they moved through the maze of industrial equipment, "what did you mean by blood debt and Vethtai bonding?" She looked at him with an expression that seemed to encompass gratitude, determination, and something else he couldn't quite identify. "It means," she said quietly, "that you have given me back my life. And now my life belongs with yours, for as long as we both shall live." Jake wasn't sure if that was a cultural expression or a literal statement, but as weapons fire erupted behind them and rescue ships descended from orbit, he decided he was looking forward to finding out. The medical frigate Sanctuary had been designed to handle battlefield casualties, epidemic outbreaks, and the occasional diplomat with stress-induced ulcers. What it hadn't been designed for was 43 liberated Nexary refugees who required specialized medical care, cultural sensitivity protocols, and apparently round-the-clock emotional support from their human rescuer. "Jake, you need to eat something," Dr. Alex Thompson said, appearing at his elbow with a protein bar and the expression of someone who'd been trying to convince patients to take care of themselves for too many years. "You've been in the medical bay for 18 hours straight." Jake looked up from where he sat beside Zara's recovery bed, noting the concerned expression on the doctor's face. "She has nightmares every time I leave. Her empathic abilities pick up on my absence even when she's unconscious." "That's not normal for Nexary physiology," Dr. Thompson admitted, consulting his medical scanner. "Their empathic range is usually limited to a few meters, and unconscious minds typically can't maintain active connections." Zara stirred on the medical bed, her iridescent skin shifting from the pale silver of sleep to the soft blue that Jake had learned indicated contentment. Her eyes opened and immediately found his face with the precision of a guided missile. "You stayed," she said softly. I told you I would. Dr. Thompson cleared his throat. Zara, how are you feeling today? Any pain from the tissue regeneration treatments? Better, she replied, though Jake noticed she never took her eyes off him when answering. The healing is faster when Jake is near. That's also not normal, Dr. Thompson muttered, making notes on his medical pad. Jake, I think you should speak with Dr. Winters about Nexary cultural practices. Some of what I'm seeing here goes beyond standard empathic bonding. Dar. Sarah Winters turned out to be the ship's xenocultural specialist, a woman who collected alien traditions the way some people collected vintage music. Her quarters were filled with cultural artifacts from dozens of species, including what appeared to be a complete set of Nexary ceremonial crystals. Vethtai bonding, she said immediately when Jake described Zara's behavior. It's extremely rare, even among the Nexary. Usually only occurs when someone saves a Nexary's life under very specific emotional and spiritual circumstances. What kind of circumstances? When the Nexary believes they are about to die, when their rescuer acts with complete selflessness, and when both parties share what their culture calls resonant souls. Dr. Winters pulled up a holographic display showing Nexary neural patterns. Essentially, Zara has formed a permanent empathic link with you. You're bonded for life. Jake felt his stomach drop. Permanently? As in, she can never be independent again? No, it's not about dependence. It's about connection. She can sense your emotional state across vast distances, and you've probably already started developing enhanced empathic sensitivity to her feelings. The bond works both ways. Before Jake could ask more questions, his friend Tommy burst into Dr. Winters' quarters with the enthusiasm of someone who just discovered fire. Jake! You have to help me. I've been trying to learn Nexary phrases to make the refugees feel more welcome, but I think I accidentally proposed marriage to the coffee machine. Dr. Winters looked at Tommy with the expression of someone watching a cultural disaster unfold in real time. What exactly did you say to the coffee machine? I thought I was saying good morning, friend, but apparently I said something about eternal bonding through shared warmth and stimulation. Tommy, Jake said patiently, that's actually not that far off from what Nexary consider romantic declarations. That's not the worst part, Tommy continued. The coffee machine started playing Nexary love songs. I can't get it to stop. Indeed, soft harmonies were echoing through the ship's corridors, beautiful, complex melodies that Jake's enhanced empathic sensitivity told him were causing contentment and emotional healing among the Nexary refugees. Dr. Winters was frantically consulting her cultural databases. This is fascinating. Tommy, you've accidentally activated a traditional Nexary courtship protocol. The coffee machine's AI is now responding as if it were a potential mate. How do I make it stop? You could try declaring your romantic intentions towards something else, Dr. Winters suggested. Or you could complete the bonding ceremony with the coffee machine. I have the ritual requirements right here. Tommy's expression shifted from panic to resignation. At this point, the coffee machine might be my most successful relationship. Jake left Tommy to sort out his accidental romance and returned to the medical bay, where he found Zara sitting up and actively trying to get out of bed. Where do you think you're going? He asked. The others need help, she replied. I can sense their fear, their confusion. They need someone who understands both worlds. Dr. Thompson looked up from his medical readings. She's right, Jake. The other refugees are struggling with the transition. Their empathic abilities are overwhelming them with the emotional states of the human crew. Zara seems to be the only one who can filter the input. Jake helped Zara to her feet, noting how much stronger she becomes since their rescue. What do you mean, filter the input? Your emotions, Zara explained, steadying herself against his arm. They are calm, protective, safe. When I focus on your emotional pattern, I can block out the chaos from everyone else. They spent the next few hours moving through the refugee quarters, with Zara serving as an emotional translator between human crew members and frightened Nexari. Jake watched her work with growing admiration. Despite her own trauma, she was completely focused on helping others adjust to their new freedom. "You're remarkable," he told her during a brief break between family groups. Zara's skin shifted to a warm golden color that Dr. Winters had told him indicated deep contentment. "The Vethtai bond makes me stronger," she said. "Your courage becomes my courage. Your hope becomes my hope. What if my fear becomes your fear? Then we face it together," she replied simply. "That is what bonding means." An alarm chimed through the ship's communication system, followed by Captain Santos's voice, "All crew to emergency stations. We have incoming vessels on long-range sensors. Configuration matches known pirate fleets." Zara went completely rigid, her skin shifting to a pale, transparent color that Jake had learned meant absolute terror. "They've come for us," she whispered. "The slavers. They want their property back." Jake felt something fierce and protective rise in his chest, amplified by the emotional feedback from their bond. "Over my dead body." Zara looked at him with an expression that combined gratitude with determination. "Jake Morrison, you saved my life once. Now let me help you save it again." As the ship prepared for combat, Jake realized that their bond wasn't just about emotional connection, it was about shared strength. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. Tommy's voice echoed through the corridors as he ran toward his battle station. "If I don't survive this, tell the coffee machine I'll always love it." Even in the face of approaching danger, Jake found himself smiling. Some things, apparently, transcended species barriers. Including Tommy's ability to find romance in the most unlikely places. The pirate fleet dropped out of hyperspace like a pack of predators that had caught the scent of wounded prey. Jake counted 8 vessels on the tactical display, all bearing the mismatched armor plating and jury-rigged weapons that marked them as professional criminals with access to military-grade equipment. "Sanctuary Base, this is Captain Klaus Vander," came the transmission, delivered in the tone of someone who'd made similar demands many times before. "You are harboring stolen property belonging to Vander Mining Consortium. Return our workforce immediately, or we will retrieve them by force." Captain Santos's response was immediate and unprintable. "This is Captain Santos of the Colonial Defense Force. The beings aboard this vessel are free sentients under the protection of the Galactic Accords. Any attempt to—" "Captain Santos," Vander interrupted, his voice carrying the casual menace of someone who'd built a career on violence, "you have 30 minutes to transfer the Nexari to our vessels. After that, we begin targeting your life support systems." Jake stood in the command center with Zara beside him, watching as the tactical situation developed. The Sanctuary was a medical frigate, fast and well-shielded, but not designed for sustained combat against 8 pirate vessels. "Jake," Zara said quietly, her skin cycling through colors that indicated intense concentration, "I can sense their intentions. The pirate captain isn't just here for the Nexari. He's here for me specifically." "Why you specifically?" "I carry information about other mining operations. Locations, security codes, prisoner manifests. If I reach colonial authorities, dozens of hidden facilities will be exposed." Captain Santos looked grim as she studied the tactical readouts. "Recommendations, people. We can run, but they'll catch us. We can fight, but we're outgunned." "There is another option," Zara said, stepping forward. "Let me return to them. I won't give them the information, but I can buy you time to escape with the others." "Absolutely not," Jake said immediately. "We're not trading you for time. Jake, it's the logical choice. 1 life versus 43. "It's not about logic," Jake replied, feeling their empathic bond carrying his determination directly to her consciousness. "It's about family. And we don't abandon family." Dr. Thompson's voice crackled over the intercom, "Captain, you need to see this. The Nexari refugees are doing something unusual." In the medical bay, they found all 43 rescued Nexari standing in a complex geometric pattern, their hands linked and their skin displaying synchronized patterns of light. Tommy stood nearby, looking confused but impressed. "They started doing this about 5 minutes ago," he reported. "Right after the pirate transmission. And Captain? The coffee machine is humming along with them." Dr. Winters appeared with her cultural scanner, her expression shifting between amazement and disbelief. "This is a Nexari war formation," she announced. "They're linking their empathic abilities to create a collective consciousness. But this pattern, I've never seen anything like it." Zara moved into the formation, taking her place at the center of the geometric design. Immediately, the light patterns became brighter and more complex. "What are they doing?" Jake asked. "They're preparing to fight," Zara replied, her voice carrying harmonics that suggested she was speaking for all 43 refugees simultaneously. "We may have been slaves, but we were never helpless. We simply chose not to resist while escape was impossible." "Zara, you're barely recovered from captivity. You can't." "Jake Morrison," she interrupted, her skin now displaying the deep purple patterns that indicated absolute determination, "you gave us back our lives. Now let us choose how to use them." The battle began with the pirates launching boarding pods toward the sanctuary's docking bays. Jake suited up with the ship's security team, but Zara insisted on accompanying him despite Dr. Thompson's medical objections. "The bond works both ways," she explained as they moved toward the breached airlock. "I can sense the pirates' emotions and intentions before they act. You need that advantage." She was right. As they engaged the boarding parties, Zara's empathic abilities allowed her to predict enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Jake found himself moving in perfect synchronization with her warnings, ducking weapons fire before the triggers were pulled and targeting enemies before they revealed their positions. But the real surprise came when Dr. Thompson's medical treatments began showing unexpected side effects. The combination of Nexari physiology and human pharmaceutical compounds had enhanced Zara's natural abilities far beyond normal parameters. "Jake, duck," she called out, and when he dropped, she vaulted over him with inhuman speed and agility, disarming 3 pirates before they could react. "Since when can you do that?" he asked. "Since Dr. Thompson's medications interacted with my enhanced metabolism," she replied, her skin now glowing with energy patterns that made her look like a living constellation. "I feel stronger, faster, more connected to everything around me." Meanwhile, Tommy's subplot with the coffee machine had taken an unexpected turn. The machine's AI, still running Nexari romantic protocols, had somehow interfaced with the ship's defensive systems. "Captain," Tommy called over the comm, "the coffee machine is targeting pirates with precise weapon strikes. It's protecting the ship." "How is that possible?" Captain Santos demanded. "I think the Nexari courtship songs created a harmonic resonance with our computer systems," Dr. Winters explained. "The coffee machine is now functioning as an extension of the Nexari collective consciousness." The tide of battle turned when the collective 43 Nexari began broadcasting their unified empathic field beyond the ship's hull. Pirates throughout the boarding pods suddenly found themselves overwhelmed with emotions they couldn't process: fear, guilt, the memory of every life they destroyed in pursuit of profit. "What's happening to them?" Jake asked as enemy combatants began surrendering or fleeing back to their ships. "Justice," Zara replied simply. "We're showing them what their victims felt." For an empathic species like ours, forced slavery isn't just physical, it's emotional torture. Now they experience what they inflicted. But their victory was short-lived. Captain Vander's voice echoed through the ship's communication system, impressive, but futile. "If I can't have my property back, I'll make sure no one else can either. Prepare to be destroyed." The main pirate vessel began charging what appeared to be a planet-killer weapon, something far beyond what a mining consortium should have possessed. "Jake," Zara said, her skin now displaying patterns of silver and gold that Dr. Winters had told him meant bonded determination, "there's only one way to stop this. What are you thinking? The collective consciousness we've created, it's not just empathic. We can share physical abilities, distribute damage across multiple individuals, even transfer life force if necessary. Jake felt his heart skip a beat. Zara, no. Whatever you're planning. You saved my life, she said, taking his hands in hers. Now let me save yours. Let me save all of ours. As the planet-killer weapon reached full charge, Jake realized that their bond was about to be tested in ways neither of them had anticipated. The war formation of Nexari refugees began glowing brighter, and at the center of it all, Zara prepared to demonstrate that sometimes the greatest acts of love required the greatest risks. Tommy's voice echoed through the chaos. Coffee machine, if we survive this, I promise to treat you to the finest synthetic cream in the galaxy. Even facing annihilation, Jake thought, some people never lost their priorities. The planet-killer weapon aboard Captain Vander's flagship charged with the ominous hum of technology designed for genocide rather than commerce. Jake watched the tactical display as energy readings climbed beyond anything a medical frigate could hope to survive, while beside him, Zara's skin began displaying patterns he'd never seen before, complex geometries that seemed to pulse with the heartbeats of all 43 Nexari refugees. The collective consciousness is ready, she said, her voice carrying harmonics that suggested she was speaking for her entire species. But Jake, what we're about to attempt has never been done between bonded individuals of different species. What exactly are we attempting? Life force distribution across the Vethtai bond. If successful, we can absorb and redirect the weapon's energy through our collective empathic field. If unsuccessful. She paused, her skin shifting to colors that indicated profound uncertainty. We won't survive to regret the attempt. Dr. Thompson burst onto the command deck, his medical scanner in one hand and an expression of scientific panic on his face. Jake, Zara's biological readings are off the charts. Her cellular structure is reorganizing itself in real time. This could kill her. Doctor, Zara replied calmly, if we do nothing, we all die. If we try and fail, we all die. If we try and succeed, we revolutionize the understanding of interspecies bonding and save 43 lives. When you put it that way, Dr. Thompson said weakly, I'll prep the emergency medical protocols. Captain Santos's voice echoed through the ship, all hands, brace for impact. Unknown energy weapon firing in 10 seconds. Jake felt Zara's hand slip into his, and immediately their empathic bond exploded with shared sensation. He could feel not just her emotions, but her physical state, her determination, and something else. A profound sense of completeness that he'd never experienced before. Jake, she said softly, whatever happens, know that you gave me more than freedom. You gave me purpose. The planet-killer weapon fired, sending a beam of concentrated destruction toward the sanctuary that should have vaporized the ship instantly. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The collective Nexari consciousness, centered on Zara and amplified through her bond with Jake, reached out and caught the weapon's energy like a living net. Jake felt the incredible power flowing through their connection, burning through his nervous system as Zara's enhanced physiology worked to process and redirect forces that no single being should have been able to survive. It's working. Dr. Winters shouted, her cultural scanners displaying patterns of energy distribution that violated several laws of physics. The empathic field is actually converting destructive energy into life force. But the cost was becoming apparent. Zara's skin had gone completely transparent, her life signs fluctuating wildly as she channeled energies that were literally tearing her apart at the molecular level. Zara. Jake could feel her life force fading through their bond, and instinctively reached out to share his own energy with her. The moment their life forces merged, everything changed. Jake's human physiology, enhanced by their Vethtai bond, began absorbing the overflow energy that Zara couldn't process alone. Together, they became something unprecedented, a hybrid consciousness that could bridge the gap between species and manipulate forces that neither could have survived individually. The weapon energy is being redirected, Captain Santos reported with amazement. It's flowing back toward the pirate fleet. Indeed, the collective Nexary consciousness had turned the planet-killer weapon into a massive empathic broadcast, forcing every pirate in the fleet to experience the emotions of their victims. The psychological impact was devastating. Hardened criminals found themselves overwhelmed with guilt, fear, and the desperate longing for freedom that they'd inflicted on countless innocents. Captain Vander's voice came through the comm system, but now it carried panic instead of menace. "What have you done to my crew? They're surrendering. They're crying." "We've shown them the truth," Zara replied, her voice somehow audible across all frequencies. "The truth of what they've done, and the truth of what they could become." The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The pirate fleet powered down their weapons as crew members throughout the ships experienced emotional breakthroughs that made continued violence impossible. But the effort had nearly killed both Jake and Zara. Dr. Thompson worked frantically to stabilize their life signs as the shared energy slowly dissipated. "The bond has changed them both," he reported to Captain Santos. "Jake's neural pathways show permanent enhancement for empathic sensitivity, and his cellular structure has been modified to match Zara's longevity parameters. They're no longer entirely separate species." Zara's eyes fluttered open, immediately seeking Jake's face. "Did we succeed?" "The pirates have surrendered," Jake replied, helping her sit up despite Dr. Thompson's protests. "More importantly, you're alive." "We're alive," she corrected. "The bond works both ways now. I can feel your life force as clearly as my own." Dr. Winters appeared with her cultural scanners, practically vibrating with excitement. "This is unprecedented. You've created the first documented case of successful interspecies consciousness merger. The implications for diplomacy, for medicine, for our understanding of what sentient life can become." "Dr. Winters," Jake interrupted gently, "maybe save the scientific celebration until after we've processed the trauma of nearly dying." Tommy chose that moment to arrive on the command deck, grinning broadly. "Jake. You'll never guess what happened. The coffee machine and I worked together to coordinate the ship's defensive systems during the battle. We make a great team." "Tommy," Captain Santos said carefully, "please tell me you haven't actually bonded with the coffee machine." "Not bonded exactly," Tommy replied. "More like, mutually committed. It plays love songs when I walk by, and I've promised to bring it premium coffee beans from Earth." Dr. Winters consulted her cultural database. "That actually does constitute a form of Nexary relationship acknowledgement. Tommy, congratulations on your interspecies romance." As the medical teams worked to treat the rescued refugees and process the surrendering pirates, Jake and Zara found themselves alone on the observation deck, watching the stars through the transparent aluminum viewport. "What happens now?" Jake asked. "Now we use what we've learned," Zara replied, her skin displaying the silver and gold patterns that meant eternal bonding. "There are thousands of Nexary still enslaved throughout the galaxy. Thousands of other species suffering in similar ways. We have the ability to help them. Together. Always together," she confirmed. "The Veth-Tai bond means we are no longer two separate beings, but two halves of something greater. I swore I would never leave you, Jake Morrison. Now it's physically impossible for me to break that promise." Jake looked at this remarkable being who had transformed from a broken slave into a force for galactic liberation, and felt their shared life force humming with contentment and purpose. "I can't think of anyone I'd rather be permanently bonded with," he said. Zara's skin shifted to colors he'd never seen before, patterns that Dr. Winters later told him meant love that transcends species, time, and death itself. In the distance, Tommy's voice echoed through the ship as he had what sounded like a philosophical discussion with the coffee machine about the nature of artificial consciousness and caffeinated relationships. Some bonds, Jake reflected, were stranger than others. But all of them seemed to be working out exactly as they were meant to.